Welcome back to the True Detectives podcast for another dose of the unexpected.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Adrian Smith.
I'm Dr. Julia Jones.
And we are here to dive into a story that's,
Absolutely.
well, it's really going to kind of blow your mind.
It is.
So today we're investigating the story of Olivia, or Livvy, a teenage girl who can see the last few seconds of a person's life.
Wow.
Just before they die.
Sounds like we're stepping into a sci-fi novel today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's going to be a wild ride.
Absolutely.
Now, you've been going through all the case files again, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So let's just jump right into this.
Let's do it.
This ability of Livvy's, it kind of emerges after a very specific event.
Right.
She witnesses her mother's death in a hit-and-run accident.
That's right. And, that got me thinking about something called traumatic awakening.
Okay.
There are actually documented cases where people develop unusual abilities or heightened senses after
Oh, wow.
a deeply traumatic experience.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're suggesting that this event could have actually triggered Livy's ability?
It's a possibility.
Like some sort of dormant potential unlocked by the trauma.
Yeah, some researchers actually think that intense stress can alter brain chemistry, potentially leading to the emergence of these extraordinary abilities.
It's wild to think about.
It is.
It's fascinating, though.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so Livy starts having these visions, these flashes of people's final moments.
Right.
I mean, I can only imagine how jarring that would be.
Oh, absolutely. And not just the visions themselves.
Yeah.
The lack of control, the randomness, it'd be incredibly unsettling, like being haunted by death itself.
Yeah. And then it takes an even darker turn.
Oh.
These visions start to connect to a string of brutal murders happening in the city.
Exactly. Livy realizes that she's not just seeing random deaths.
Right.
She's witnessing the final moments of murder victims.
That must be terrifying.
Oh, absolutely.
So she tries to tell people, right?
Of course.
Tries to tell her brother Jake, even the police.
And they meet her with skepticism, naturally.
Yeah.
I mean, proving something like precognition, it's incredibly difficult.
I was like, how do you even begin?
Right. We rely on tangible evidence, things we can see and touch.
It's interesting, though, because even without proof,
Right.
these stories of precognition, they persist.
They do.
Across cultures and throughout history.
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
It speaks to our fascination with the unknown.
Yeah.
The possibility that our minds are capable of more than we currently understand.
Right.
I think there's a part of us that wants to believe, even if the evidence is elusive.
So Livy's stuck in this really difficult position, right?
Yes.
She's burdened with this knowledge,
Horrible vision.
these horrific visions, and no one believes her.
Right.
What does she do?
Well, instead of succumbing to fear and despair, she decides to use her ability to try and stop the killer.
Wait, she takes on the role of a detective,
Yeah.
using these visions as clues?
Precisely. This is where Livy's story takes a truly intriguing turn.
Oh, wow.
Remember, she's seeing the victim's final moments.
Right.
And in those fleeting seconds, there might be details overlooked at the crime scene
Right.
that could hold the key to solving the case.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how she uses these visions to piece together clues and track down the killer.
Okay.
But first,
Yes.
a quick word from our sponsors.
Livy starts to, she really starts paying attention to the details
Okay.
in her visions. It's like she's watching a crime scene tape
Mm-hmm.
in reverse.
Yeah.
But instead of just images, she's experiencing the victim's final sensations.
Oh, wow.
Their fear, even snippets of their thoughts.
So she's not just seeing, she's like feeling,
Exactly.
even thinking what the victim experienced in those last moments.
Right.
That's intense.
And that's what makes her insights so valuable.
Okay.
The source material mentions a vision where she sees the killer's reflection in a puddle, distorted and almost monstrous.
Oh, wow.
Now that image, coupled with the victim's terror,
Yeah.
gives her a clue about the killer's state of mind,
Right.
their possible mental state.
Like she's getting a glimpse into the killer's psyche,
Right.
not just their physical appearance.
And this is where the true detective work comes in.
Okay.
She starts connecting these seemingly random details from her visions to actual locations, objects, even people.
Wow.
It's like solving a puzzle where the pieces are scattered across time.
Yeah, but each vision takes its toll on her, though, right? It's not just gathering clues, it's draining her,
Right.
pushing her closer to the edge.
Imagine the emotional and psychological burden of repeatedly experiencing the trauma of these murders.
Yeah.
Even if only through visions.
Wait.
The source material mentions how Livvy starts feeling this deep fatigue,
Okay.
a sense of her own life force diminishing with each vision.
It's almost as if she's sacrificing a part of herself to solve these cases, to bring these killers to justice.
That's a very insightful way to put it.
Yeah.
And it raises a crucial ethical question.
Okay.
How much is one life worth? Is it justifiable to put yourself in such danger?
Right.
To risk your own well-being to save others?
That's a heavy question,
It is.
especially for a teenager to grapple with.
And it gets even more complicated.
Oh.
Because, as you mentioned, she's seeing her own death in these visions.
Yeah.
Reflected in the eyes of the killer.
Okay, so we've got this race against time,
Right.
this desperate search for clues, and this looming sense of dread.
Yes.
What happens next?
Well, that's where things get a bit ambiguous.
Okay.
And I think that's intentional on the author's part.
Right.
The story doesn't offer a clear-cut resolution. Livvy collapses after seeing her own death.
Right.
And when she wakes up in the hospital,
Yeah.
the doctors dismiss it as fainting,
Oh, wow.
a result of stress and exhaustion.
So they're attributing her visions, her precognitive abilities,
It seems so.
to a medical condition.
And this highlights a really interesting point.
What's that?
How do we as a society deal with phenomena that we can't easily explain
Right.
or categorize?
Yeah.
Do we dismiss them as delusions?
Right.
Or is there room for acknowledging the possibility of the unknown?
It's a question that goes beyond Livvy's story,
Yes, it does.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's about our own willingness to expand our understanding
Right.
of what's possible,
Yeah,
to consider perspectives that challenge our existing beliefs.
precisely.
But we can't forget about the killer.
Oh, no.
While Livvy's recovering in the hospital,
Yeah,
the detectives announce that they've caught him.
they did.
Yeah. They claim they found DNA evidence linking him to the crimes.
Oh, wow.
So case closed, right?
Right.
Except
Yeah,
we know that Livvy's visions played a crucial role in this investigation,
they did.
even if no one else acknowledges it.
Right.
She literally risked her life to bring this killer to justice.
That's the unsettling reality of her situation. Their
There-
contributions are invisible,
Right.
unquantifiable.
And yet without her, who knows how many more lives might have been lost.
Exactly.
It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the most important work happens behind the scenes.
Yes.
In the shadows.
And that brings us back to that crucial question we were discussing earlier.
Okay.
Is it worth the sacrifice? Is it justifiable to risk your own well-being to even court death
Right.
to save others?
It's a question that lingers long after the story ends.
It does.
And I think it's a question that each listener has to answer for themselves.
Absolutely.
There's no easy answer, no right or wrong.
I agree.
But it's a question worth pondering.
Yeah. It really makes you think, huh?
It does.
This idea that knowing too much, seeing too much darkness
Right.
can actually consume you.
It's a theme that echoes throughout history,
Right.
from ancient myths to modern literature.
Yeah.
That some knowledge comes at a price.
Yeah.
That some truths are too heavy to bear.
And for Livvy.
That price seems to be her own peace of mind.
Right.
Even though they caught the killer, she's left with this fear,
Right.
this awareness of her own mortality.
Yeah.
How does she even begin to move forward after all that?
It's a real challenge.
This,
The source material doesn't really give us easy answers,
right.
but I think that's what makes it so compelling
Yeah.
and leaves us, the readers, grappling with those same questions that Livvy faces.
Right.
Does she embrace this ability, knowing the risks,
Yeah.
or does she try to suppress it
Bury it deep inside.
and hope for a normal life?
It's like this constant battle between
It
duty and self-preservation.
Exactly, and the stakes are incredibly high.
And it's interesting because it's not just
Yeah,
a paranormal thing, right?
Right.
We see this in real life
we do.
with first responders, healthcare workers,
Yeah,
anyone who faces danger and trauma on a regular basis.
right. How do they cope with that burden?
Yeah. How do they find that balance between helping others and protecting themselves?
It's a profound observation.
Yeah.
And it reminds us that Livvy's story, while extraordinary,
Yeah.
speaks to a very human experience.
It does.
We all have to make those tough choices,
Right.
weigh the risks and rewards of our actions.
Yeah.
And sometimes those choices have consequences for ourselves and those around us.
Well said.
Thank you.
So we've really kind of explored a lot today.
We have.
The psychological impact of trauma,
Right.
the ethical dilemmas of precognition,
Yes.
the very human struggle between duty and self-preservation.
Absolutely.
And that brings us back to Livvy.
Right.
What do you think, listener?
Yeah.
If you had Livvy's ability, would you use it?
Knowing the risks.
Knowing the risks.
Would you want to know?
Would you embrace that burden of knowledge?
Yeah.
Or would you seek a quieter, maybe a safer path?
What would you do?
It's a question worth pondering.
It is.
We'd love to hear your thoughts, so share them with us on social media. And don't forget to rate and follow the True Detectives podcast.
Yes, please do.
For more investigations into the strange and unexplained.
Yes, until next time.
Until next time, stay curious and keep those detective minds sharp.